that's kind of what I need to work on right now.
Okay, let's go to the reading tab. Okay, keep going. What else? Where else do you think? Who is having the same issues in class? Aside from Jason, in terms of inconsistencies. No one else? Only Jason? Okay, pretty good then. Alright, so let's start from you, Anne. How did you um, develop your focusness from being inconsistent to being consistent?
For me, it was really practicing, like putting in trades and then learning from my mistakes, going over like what we discussed last week. You know how the importance of the checklist is. You know, looking at it and then looking and going over where I made a mistake, or what can I do differently when I see this setup. You know, write things down, take notes, and then be aware of it. And then when it comes, when that time comes, you know exactly what to do.
So can you give Jason some examples or in terms of practice?
In terms of practice, I put a lot of trades. Like when last year, for example, when I started with learning M1, I just put a lot of trades, small trades, maybe 1% of my capital, but I just put it in. When I see a setup, I just pull the trigger and then put my stops. One thing that I was making a lot of mistakes is not putting stops. That's my one big problem. And then I overcame that, and now it's just automatic for me to put the stop loss. And if it hit the stop loss, then so be it. I just accept it. But just putting a lot of trades. When you see a setup that you think it's a good setup, even speaking to, say, to Ray, or maybe myself, or someone that has got the skill of recognizing the setups. Just ask them, said, oh, you know, is this a good setup? Is this an M1? And then they will give you feedback or ask you questions and things like that. But I'm just really, you know, putting the trades in. That's all I did.
Did that help, Jason?
Yeah, it did, Ray. Thanks, Ann. Yeah, and it was like what we talked about last week as well, about at the end of the month or end of the week reviewing your trades too, and then identifying where you went wrong in that time frame. And so that was a good point. I believe Ann brought that up, and so that's helped as well as far as reviewing the stuff. And I think you said, you know, run it like a business. So that's more or less what I've been doing. I think that's been helping. So I think it just takes time, you know, especially with method one. Method one is because it's so subjective if you want it to be. And so that's the area where I'm sort of struggling a little bit. But, I mean, yeah, it just takes time and practice.
Okay, there's a great show on Natural Geographic called Brain Games. So currently, this is the first episode. First episode is about focus here, 4 tricks for improving your focus. So there are a few exercises that you'll be able to do. Actually, this is the one I actually watched the last time. It's actually pretty neat. Because your brain, what happens is when you're just focusing on one thing, you tend to forget what's really happening around you. So in terms of trading, it's also the same. Pretty much from what we established earlier, if your focus only pretty much around here, then you tend to forget what's really happening on the side. Hence why people who use a lot of indicators and things like that will be a big issue, because rather than focusing on price action, they forget about the actual trend, who's really in control overall, and it's how they make those mistakes. So That's why M1 has a lot of different factors involved. It's easy, but at the same time, it's also complex because of the other things that you need to look for. So go through actually this one. That's the website right here. And yeah, brain games have a lot of exercises that basically will improve not just your concentration, but like say here, focus and so forth. And you can go through all the different episodes actually. So if you go to the back, I go back. Okay, click on episodes. So, oops. So you'll see that there are different episodes in terms of how your brain really operate. Really love it. I always like mainly the mindset stuff. So here it is. You can go through one by one, in actual fact, based on the episode itself. So yeah, actually also explained how the brain will just focus on one thing, and hence they've proven it that we cannot do multitasking. The brain can only focus one thing at a time, and at the same time how your peripheral vision it's clouded, because once your brain is just focused with one thing, you will forget pretty much everything around you. We also we did this exercise part of your two-day course of trading psychology, right? So, and this is where they explain where once you focus just on the red dot, the yellow dots around it will actually disappear because the brain chooses not to concentrate and focus on the yellow dots. So in other words, how does it affect when it comes to trading? Same, when you're focused just on one bar alone, and you're now, imagine part of your perception, you're perceiving that the price is going to go up, but overall the market is saying it's going to drop, and it will stick to your own beliefs, and hence that's why trading is very subjective unless you really look into it as a form of objectivity. Okay, so those are the things that you can exercise. Meditation is a really good exercise to improve your focus and concentration. Visualization. There's another one is using the candle itself, just looking at the candle, then basically being aware of the thoughts that's coming in and out of pretty much what your thoughts are, and acknowledging those thoughts and going back to focus. Playing some form of sport, like tennis, for example. Golf is good for concentration. Table tennis is good for concentration. So there are different things that you can utilize. You can use. Going to the shooting range, right? Lumosity is a good website for the brain itself. So going to since you guys you guys are in the military, you go to the shooting range. That's how you can improve your focus. So you guys already got the skill. You need just to apply that from your normal day-to-day skill or your former jobs. So like say you're in the military, in order for you to be focused all the time, basically what if you went to say boot camp, that focusedness, you guys need to be focused in order to be awake to a certain time, or I don't know what other trainings that you guys have received through the military. The military, definitely, you guys have trained to a skill level more than probably us in this room, right? So you have the skill, to be honest. So Jason, you just have to apply it based on trading. So like say through that, how can you apply it to see the overall? So say for example, if you're protecting someone else, are you just focused with the client, or you're focused about your surroundings, your environment? How do you play the game based on that, Jason?
Right. Well, it's always being situationally aware, and your primary focus is the client. You're responsible for them.
Correct.
I mean, you can't be responsible for them while being out of tune with the environment as well. So there's a lot of factors involved in it.
There you go. So see, now you know those in terms of other factors. Same with trading. yes, if you're focused just over here, but how about the other factors also that's involved? So remember from what we spoke earlier today in class, the Trader Dojo, is that, from point A to point B, in between, there's going to be different factors that will affect the trade in order to get from point A to point B. You cannot just focus just one alone by using a fib, for example, or just using a stochastics or a moving average or any type of any indicator. So you need to see the overall picture as well and see what's happening based on multiple time frames and things like that. All right, so I hope that helped in terms of that.
It did.
Okay, cool. For those who just came in, we're doing pretty much a Q&A tonight's session. What are the things that you guys have, what do you guys want to talk about today? What's the challenge that you're currently facing? We are now in May. It's January, February, March, April, May. We're on the 5th month. See how fast things go. So, if you haven't done your goal settings and if you haven't met your goals and it's already on the 5th month, then something's definitely wrong on your end. Meaning, either one, you're procrastinating, two, you're not taking full action. At the end of the day, it doesn't bother me. Like, you guys pay me. But at the end of the day, you have to take the action, not me. I'm here to guide you to as much as I can to get you to point B. But at the end of the day, you have to put in the time and the effort in order to get to the goal where you want. So if you haven't done your goals as yet, write them down. What are the things that you want to achieve now? We're now in May. We're in the 5th month. We have another 7 months left. 7 months will go in a flash. 2012 actually went so quickly. 2013 is actually going fast, especially if you're having fun. And I would say for trading, they go really, really quick. Right? So, what else? What are the things that you want me to talk about today? So Jason said mainly the inconsistencies in trading, mainly the focus to trading. So what challenges are you guys currently facing at the moment? For sure, there's always going to be something. Right, seems like there's no other questions then. That's an easy class. Then we'll wrap it up. And I'll see you guys at 11 o'clock in the live trading class. Since there's really nothing.
Well, since no one's talking, I'll talk. This is John.
Hi, John.
Hey, what's going on? My only challenge is just trying to just stay motivated, knowing that I don't have enough knowledge to go really beyond what I'm doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my only challenge. I mean, the way I look at it is that as long as I understand the rules and as long as I stick to the rules, then the most difficult thing really is what's going on in my head. So, for me, every day as a part of my affirmations, and not just the ones that we've decided to do and email you on, but just kind of my internal affirmations as I go through the day. I just, you kind of sort of remind yourself, hey, this is where I started. These were my goals when I started.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I'm at, and you just kind of have to remind yourself. You almost have to pull yourself back a little bit and remind yourself of what you thought about your goals and where you were going when you first started. And typically, I'll be surprised in my progress. But sometimes it doesn't really actually hit you immediately. You have to kind of remind yourself of your progress. And then that just, that kind of resets me and gives me that motivation, knowing that I'm actually moving forward and I'm learning and I'm progressing and I'm improving.
Very nice. Yeah, it's mainly the why. So why are we really doing this? Why are we trading? If you can answer that why, then that is your motivator. The why is always going to be the internal motivator of the things and what we're doing. Pretty cool. Anyone else? How do you guys motivate yourselves in order for you to keep going what you're doing when it comes to trading? Okay, let's start from the top.
For me,
Angie,
I
why are you trading, Angie?
Um, I had a bit I had thinking throughout. I've been not well, so from I think I've got bookkeeping injury, so I've been having headaches here and there, and then make me really think. It's like a shock to me that hang on, I'm getting old, and I don't think I'll be continuing doing this bookkeeping. So that's why I gotta change my focus on trading. I mean, this thing I can do this. But my challenge is now I'm still fear of losing money. That's always there behind my head. It's just keep thinking about it because I lost money when trading, when my first time trading live using the M2 and M3, and that fear is still there. But I just need to keep motivating myself to just act on it. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's just keep on thinking losing the money as it's I pay university. I mean, it's like the cost of my education. So yeah, that's where I'm at the moment.
Got it. So see how in order for you to have that fear, you need to go through the root cause on what caused you to lose money. Okay, so very important. So if you followed every single step by the book in terms of being meticulous, following the process, emailing your homework and stuff. So see, the most important part is following the process. And if you're honest to yourself that you did everything that you could in order to do that, then I will take full responsibility based on your loss. I guarantee. I'm more than happy to return whatever you lost. However, if you didn't do the things that I set you to tell you what to do, you didn't follow the rules, you weren't being meticulous, because you're being focused, you're being impatient, and so forth, then at the end of the day, what caused you to lose money? So, not just with Angie, everybody in this room, what is the main thing that why people lose money in the marketplace? What is a value that people do not have, or well, everybody has it, but tend not to do it?
I didn't follow the process.
So in other words, what is that internal thing, the root cause on why people do not follow things, why people are not being disciplined?
My main thing is I think procrastination.
What causes procrastination? So we have to go deeper. What are the things that causes procrastination? What causes for people to lose money in the marketplace? What causes for people not to be disciplined? What causes for people not to follow the process? What causes in order for people not to put the stop loss or the target points or to put
My own
position sizing, right? All type of stuff. Because all the tools, I've been giving, I gave it to you for you guys, right? The tools are there for you to use. Okay, there's one of the values.
Procrastination is when you allow distractions to get you off the path of being focused.
Okay, let's think about procrastination. Now, if you say to yourself, okay, I'm gonna get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then all of a sudden, let me buzz it. I'll do it later. I'll get up later. That's part of procrastination. Or say you're gonna say to yourself that I'm going to the gym, and then all of a sudden you started watching TV. You said, I'll sit down and watch TV. I'm not gonna go to the gym. Or now if it comes to your trading, well, I know there's a trade alert is currently in there but I'm too cozy. I'm not going to go to my computer and put the trade in. That's procrastination.
The way I see it, the difference between the things that we think we should do and the things that we know we have to do is typically consequence. If for instance someone was to tell you you have to do this or you will die, there's a pretty good chance you're going to do it. But if someone tells you, hey, you have to do this or you might be uncomfortable, you might not do it. So often we weigh the consequences, and when we procrastinate, we've weighed the consequence and we've accepted the consequence, and so we procrastinate.
Sometimes they don't even think about the consequence when you're procrastinating, right? They know they're meant to do it, but they choose not to. But deep down inside, they're not actually, even though they choose to, but there is still that value that's missing. So if you say to yourself you're going to do it, but people do not do it, why?
Lack of integrity.
Bingo. Lack of integrity. So this is one of the main reasons why people lose money in the marketplace is because of the lack of integrity. The lack of integrity is also now the lack of what? Responsibility.
Belief.
So with the lack of responsibility, with the lack of, you have a lack of integrity, a lack of responsibility. Because if you're saying to yourself, I know I'm going to do it, and you're being responsible for that, technically speaking, you will not lose money. Now, because of the lack of something, the lack of integrity, lack of responsibility, this is what caused traders to lose money in the marketplace, which now leads to the fear. Deep down inside, if they took responsibility within their own actions and they followed everything because they have the integrity to do so, because they choose to do so, because they want to, because of now the why, which causes now that motivation. See, integrity is so powerful because if you don't have the integrity, you're not going to have the responsibility, the commitment, the trust, the belief, or any type of value in for you to have the why. But if you have the integrity, because that is your why, is your internal motivator, that's what keeps you going. So if you say to yourself, I am a trader because I want to make money. Why am I trading is because I want to make money. At the end of the day, it's about making money. It's not about losing money. If you want to make money and you're losing money, then there's something that you need to do now is through becoming a master risk manager. Because if you cannot manage your own risk, this is where you're going to keep on losing money over and over again. But at the end of the day, this is also a part of what you need is that you need focus, you need integrity, you need responsibility. It's everything about the being once again. The being part is so important in trading. This is part of your cost versus effect. The part of the consequence of what John is talking about. So without the if you don't have the responsibility, then the consequence is what? Yeah, you procrastinate. Remember the question part of your workbook is that what is the hidden benefit of not getting into your goals? So the hidden benefit is that you procrastinate. The hidden benefit is that you won't make money, or you lose money. Now the benefit on the other hand is that you procrastinate, you're chilling out, you're having a good time. If you choose to do that, so be it. Right? So in terms now of the fear, this is where what's happening too, because of people keep losing money. Obviously, you will have the fear of losing money. You will not have the fear of losing money if you followed every rule in the book. True? Now, if you also know that your win-to-lose ratio, at least, so if you have, even for argument's sake, you have a 60% win-to-lose ratio, you have 40% that you're going to lose within that trade. Now, you will still need the responsibility, part of that. So, in other words, if you know that the probability that you can lose part of this trade, if you went long, that 40% of chances that you will get stopped out is highly probable, meaning now then that if you bought on this side and you enter the trade, and you put the stop, and you took full responsibility of that because 40% chance that you will lose, you need to take full responsibility. So if you take full responsibility of the trade, so if it drops and you're going to lose $200, $500, $1,000, and you take full responsibility, will you be fearful?
No.
One says no.
You take responsibility.
So if you take full responsibility even before you even execute, so you're seeing over here, you're going to go, all right, bulls are in control. The probability you're going to go to 103.58 is highly probable. However, there's a 40% chance, part of my win-to-lose ratio is that there's a 40% probability that I'm going to lose with this trade. But if I get stopped out from at this point, am I willing to risk that amount? And am I willing to take full responsibility of that loss? So if you say yes, will you be fearful? And that is the question.
No.
Angie says no. And say no. Jess says no. Who else? John, will you be fearful?
No.
No. Stefan, will you be fearful? Harry, will you be fearful? Absolutely. You won't be fearful because you have analyzed, you created a plan, you already know what you're going to supposed to do. Okay, let's change the scenario. You go to your computer room, you're excited, you don't have a plan at all, you just look into it blindly. Oh well, you know, it looks like the Bulls are currently in control right there, everything looks good. I'll buy. No planning in terms of position size. You're going to go to say to yourself, well, one looks good. Method one, I'll go gung-ho. I'll put 30% of my account. And then all of a sudden, bam. What is that person currently feeling at the moment? Or is feeling like a jackass because he got no freaking plan, didn't follow everything, you know, went impulsively into the trade, didn't take full responsibility about the stop loss, and putting 30% of the position size. At the end of the day, whose fault is it?
The trader's fault.
It's the trader's fault. And then all of a sudden he loses money because he's now, rather than having a proper calculation, he or she loses now 30% or 40% of their account. And now they're going to play catch up. So see, this is what happens quite all the time, is because they don't follow the plan, they follow their own set of rules. You need to have that in order for you to eliminate fear. You need to have the responsibility, you need to have the integrity, you need to have the focus, you need to have the why. You need to follow the process. Everything is about process. And at the end of the day is mainly, how did you perform? This is a very important question. Hence, this is why my philosophy in trading is where sport meets trading, is because at the end of the day, you are competing. Yes, you're competing against the marketplace, against other Olympic elite traders out there who has more knowledge than you and I, who has more resource than you and I, who has more money than you and I. But the question is, how can we beat them to a certain degree, to a certain element? But you need to have certain characteristics, certain character in order to beat the marketplace. Yes, we cannot beat them, we need to be with them. But the question is, how can we be with these guys? Everything is about performance. So if you perform because you follow the process, you have that. The being part, you take full action, you take full responsibility. At the end of the day, whether win or lose, you're still a champion. There's no fear involved because you did your best. As long as you did your best to the best ability with no regrets. See, this is what we as athletes always tell each and every basically athlete there is, that, you know, once you're in the ring and you're competing, I want you to do to your best ability, that when you are finished, there are no regrets. So in other words, you did your best. Because, yes, there's going to be other factors that's going to be involved. Referees can be biased, right? There's also subjectivity in sport. It's not just in taekwondo. You can actually see it in boxing. You can see it in basketball, baseball, football, or anything. So there's going to be some form of subjectivity at the end of the day. Trading has a lot of subjectivity. But the market at the end of the day is so smart that it will take your money. But the question is, how can you be objective? So, but as long as you did everything that you could, you followed every single thing by the book, part of your trading own set of rules. You were focused. You have a lot of integrity in place. You were responsible. Your loss at the end of the day has got nothing to do about you. It's got to do about the market is just way too stronger. No regrets. Go to the next trade. But if you didn't perform because you didn't follow the process, you will have a lot of regret, and hence you'll have a lot of fear. So, yeah, this is mainly the advanced type of trading where now following set of rules based on your own methodology no longer apply. This is now the next level of trading is mainly how can you be the best trader you can be at all times by you having that integrity, you being taken full responsibility, being disciplined, and so forth. Yeah, so at the end of the day, we're not perfect. You know, I think this is why we have this type of self-development, is because at the end of the day is how can we be better as human beings? Because that is the flaw of human individuals, that the being part. You know, it's not perfect. We're not like machines that, you know, you have the integrity all the time. For me, this is my biggest challenge, is to be in high level integrity at all times. I have a lot of challenges based on that. To be in that state every millisecond and to be aware of your internal thoughts, your surroundings every millisecond, man, that is a challenging thing to do. I know that monks will be able to do that to a certain level, to a certain degree. That's why in martial arts, to be a black belt doesn't mean anything, to be honest. Once you're a black belt, the levels doesn't mean nothing at all. It is mainly how can you be the best martial artist that you can be as an individual. It's no longer about the skill or the technique. It is mainly how can you give back to the community, having pretty much the spiritual aspect, how can you be better, all the type of stuff. So that's why, you know, with athletes, you know, here, I see them 4th dan, 5th dan, and they're like 20-year-old. You know, at the end of the day, I tell them, I said, like, you know, you have 4 stripes, 5 stripes. Do you really know the meaning of being a black belt? They can't even answer that. He said, did you really deserve that black belt? Perhaps you paid for it. It wasn't given to you because you weren't really ready for it. So, you know, in trading, you know, depending on what level you are, you need to be worthy as a trader. That's how the market can measure you as a trader, is based on your results, based on your performance. So if you are inconsistent, then that means there's definitely a lot of things for you to learn in terms of not just about the methodology itself, but mainly about you as an individual. Everything that you do, or what we do as traders, the end result is always going to be the end result of who we are as a person. So that's how I measure my success, or how I measure my performance basically in trading. Was I being meticulous in my trading? Did I follow every set of rules? If I didn't, then probably it's my own fault. Well, at the end of the day, it is going to be my fault, right? So, any question part of that? I believe I didn't go through into detail. Any questions or that you guys want to add or share? Does that make sense? That didn't make sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Cool.
How do you? I've got a question.
Yes.
How do you catch yourself? You know, when you're being that lack of integrity, what do you do?
That's a very good question. The simple question that I always ask myself: who am I being within that moment? Because if you can answer that, so like say for example, lack of integrity. At the moment, I am in a space of being, lacking of integrity. Now you see, we have choices. So if you choose to procrastinate, so say for example, there are times where Mondays for me is the longest day. I don't finish pretty much till from about 10 in the morning, or actually from the time I wake up till midnight. And then I know that there are other things I have to do after midnight. Probably looking at the marketplace, or writing a newsletter, writing an article, writing, part of my book, whatever. So now if I go downstairs and watch TV, for me that's part of procrastination. Now, if I'm there just watching TV and I know there's more stuff that I could do, so the simple question I ask myself is, okay, I'm watching TV right now. Do I choose to watch TV? If I say yes, I choose to because I'm going to relax for about an hour or so, even though I know that I have other things to do, then so be it. Now, but if I'm not being aware, if I just sit down there and just watch TV and basically on a daydreaming state, see, I think that's the difference between not being aware of your internal thoughts compared to being aware of your internal thoughts. Because if you're being more aware of everything that you do, you will catch things like there's no tomorrow. So say, for example, there's a part of the exercise, a really good book by Stuart Wilde. Let's see if I could find a book here in my bookcase. So it's a little mini book. Oh man, I can't find it. But anyway, it's one of the first books that I actually read. It's awesome. Stuart Wilde is a British guy, and he basically, part of the exercise of what he gave is that you go to your busy place and so forth, like say the airport, or you're in a party, and you just listen. You're in the group discussion environment, where now you're just being aware, you're just listening to what people are saying. Then that's where you can catch your thoughts too, and all of a sudden you can see whether, if you're judging the person, you can see what the behavior of that person. So these are the things that, as part of the exercise, is what are the thoughts coming into your head. And sometimes I just laugh because if I see something, say for example, I was being in Disneyland, you see people walking past, and then all of a sudden, a thought came into my head. It's like, I said, oh my God, 70% out of 10, say 7 will be obese, 3 won't be not obese. Then I said to myself, am I being now judgmental, or I was just being an observer? So both I laugh. I say, well, I'm observing at the same time I'm judging, because at the end of the day I shouldn't be judging, and I shouldn't really be comparing between 3 people. I'm just making as well an observing between the era. And I know for a fact that in the West Coast there's less obese than people living on the East Coast for some reason, right? Because I think maybe perhaps in the West Coast people are a little bit more health conscious than in the East Coast. And then that's when I start thinking, like, okay, I wonder where he or she's from. Then maybe he's on the East Coast. So this is where I start catching my thoughts. Okay, and then all of a sudden, if I'm being judgmental, and this is where I go to my wife. I said, hey, can you slap my hand? And she goes, why? I said, because I'm just being judgmental. So that, the slapping of the hand, where you have a rubber band in your wrist, you have a negative thought, slap it, because that's pretty much, I forgot the terminology in psychology, that if you have that negative thought, once there's a certain pain, it is mainly part of the awareness that, hey, you're judging now, ignore that. So these are the things that you can implement, you can practice as well. Like what Anne says, actually, it just takes time. It's just years of practice. It's also through meditation too, things like that. Being aware, the awareness part, and also looking at other people's physiology. That's also a good exercise, actually, to do that. But in terms of oneself, you see that the challenging part about us is that because we cannot see ourselves, it's easy for us to judge someone because we can see them, part of the 180 degrees that's missing. But we cannot judge our own selves because the 180 degrees that's missing behind us, we can't see it unless another person actually will see it. So a good exercise as well is through your partners. You said, what can you see about me that I can't see myself? So, I had one challenge before, is that also procrastination. So I asked my wife, I said, what can you see about myself that I can't see about me? And said, just be honest. Is there, do I procrastinate? And she said, yes. I said, thank you. That's all I need to know. And then that's when I had to take action. Then I had to find my own why. Why am I procrastinating? That means I'm not motivated enough. Just because I already made money doesn't necessarily mean I have to stop and just do certain things. So you have to keep on going, right? You need to find the things on what really kicks you in terms of your purpose in life and why you keep on doing it. So that's why I love coaching and mentoring, is because it gives me the kick to see someone succeed as well, is to eliminate the 75% of people who are inconsistently losing money in the marketplace to be part of the 25% at least, right? So that's what gives me the kick. To also, as part of the 6 human needs contribution. So you need to find your kick. So in trading, what kicks you? At the end of the day, it should be the money. The money factor is that one should be able to kick you, to keep you going. Okay, because if you have the why is the money, then you automatically have the integrity responsibility, because it is a business. It is there that will keep you going in order for you to consistently make money, right? But if you have the fear, man, definitely. I mean, this is the number one answer on why people cannot actually press the trigger, is because of the fear of losing money. So yeah, you need to have the being part. Cool. Anything else? I hope I answered your question, by the way, Angie. All right. Any other questions? Yes, Jason.
Something to kind of maybe quickly go over too is what we covered, talked about a little bit today in the dojo, was pertaining to inconsistency and outside influences and how it affects your trading as well. Like my example, it was a pretty good example, but I mean, you have something small like that is, from somebody else's perspective, they give you insight on, how you can deal with it, but sometimes you get caught up in the moment, and you have to deal with things outside of trading that, that you need to correct, because you know that if you don't fix those things, they can affect your profitability when you're in the markets.
Absolutely. Your environment, people that you surround with, family, friends, they're also the influential part of who you are as an individual. If you notice here, one of the episodes is power of persuasion. Power of persuasion is actually, that's where hypnosis comes from. So if you're if you're a type of person who's very persuasive, great salespeople actually are very persuasive. They just don't realize that they hypnotize other people. Now, if you hang around with negative people, at the end of the day, you're going to be with also negative people, because the reason for it is now you're being affected by it. That will affect your trading, absolutely. So when it comes to trading, I highly recommend not to talk to anybody, not unless they are traders themselves. Sometimes traders also are negative, right? I'm just fortunate to have a small group of individuals like you guys, because you guys are on the positive side. So you have the support system. Being an elite, part of the elite membership is mainly you have a great support amongst the members. So if one is actually being negative, you just tell them automatically. You say, hey man, I don't want to hear about it. The number one thing is, like, sometimes I get too abrupt. It's like, for me, I don't like excuses. At the end of the day, you can give me any excuse you want. It's still your choice. Because when the person gives me a lot of excuses, it means a lot to the other person too. Meaning, then freaking take action. It's like, yeah, I know I'm tough sometimes with my own child too. My own daughter said, but, I keep telling her, it's like, stop whining. Why are you whining? He said, will it affect you if you keep whining? And then she says, no. Then there you go. Then what are you going to do about it? I said, okay, then I'm going to do it. And out of nowhere, the motivation basically changes. Likewise, in at Stanford, athletes will email me. He's like, I can't make it to training because of this, blah, blah. I said, I greatly appreciate that you're emailing me that you can't make it. All I need is one line. I can't make it to training. That's it. I don't need to hear about your excuse why you can't make the training. Sometimes with some traders too, they give me a lot of excuses. Hey, either you do your homework, you don't do your homework. Do I really care if you don't do your homework? I would care because I would prefer if you do your homework, but if you have other priorities, then so be it. However, I don't need that excuse that type of like, well, I can't do this because of this, because. So at the end of the day, it's the action taking part. Either you do it or you don't. It is a personal choice. However, if they tell me because they can't do it, then so be it. That's fine. No judging, no nothing. At the end of the day, it's an excuse. An excuse is an excuse, right? So just be careful as well whether if you're making excuses because it's part of your self-sabotaging mechanism. That will also appear in your trading. So say, for example, here's a great example. Let's take the pound against the yen. I'm going to take Jason's trade, for example. Buying or selling a level of demand. See, this is the beauty about the markets. The markets will give you chances. First chance, second chance. So if you're not seeing it objectively because you made a mistake, and now perhaps you're making an excuse, well, I'm going to stick to my own plan because of this. Be careful of what your excuses are, because maybe perhaps that excuse is a part of a self-sabotaging mechanism as part of your vicious cycle. Now, if you're looking at something objectively, great, how come the low didn't break this low? How come it created a new high? What is the overall trend? Oh, look at that, the bulls are way in control. If it's a level of demand and the bulls are in control, then maybe the buyers outweighs the sellers. Then I would rather hop out right now with a small loss, and I can reverse my position, and at least in this way I'm within the tide or the current. That's how basically it went. Now if you are not even executing or not getting out from there, then you also got to be careful now, once again, part of your excuse on why you are not getting out of your position. Right? So excuses from my coaches, my mentors basically told me excuses is actually a part of your self-sabotaging mechanism. It is a reason why not to. Excuses are mainly reasons. It is not a personal choice. A personal choice is when either you choose to get out or you don't get out at all. But you're making reasons on why you're not getting out is maybe because of the righteousness or some form of internal limiting behavior that you currently do have inside your system or your flow as a human being. So you need to be careful part of that. Okay. So does it make sense as well now, Jason? So that's why awareness is so
Yes,
important.
makes perfect sense.
Okay, Angie. Okay, we got to be careful as well, right? In terms of the reasoning, and based on the difference between reasoning and also making personal choice. Harry, does that make sense as well? Hello? Okay. All right, anything else? We have 4 minutes.
I just want to add that just want to stress the importance of the trading checklist or any trading log that you have. I know at the start when you see the trading checklist from Ray, there's a lot of things that you need to fill out, and it takes a lot of your time. That's how I felt the first time. But then when I look into the trading checklist or the trading log, it's actually quite important, because that's it. The trade is all about you, all about your performance of this trade, why you lost, why you won with this trade. So that's why it is very, very important that you give importance, just stressing it out, the importance of having a trading checklist or a trading log, because it is just, it's giving you the performance at the end of the day.
Beautiful. Thanks, Anne. Thanks,
No
Anne, for
worries.
sharing. Anybody else would like to share or add something? Cool. Looks like that is it then. Nothing?
Thanks,
I
Ray.
just got a question for next time.
Yep.
Just question for the next session. I'm just wondering if you can show me how you organize your trading log. I seem to lose myself in I couldn't access my trading log really neatly. I'm just wondering how you organize it to be able to access whichever one still you're trading that's still open, or is this one closed, or for next time.
All right. No worries. Definitely, for sure. Cool.
Thanks.
Excellent. All right, guys. Then in about 2 minutes' time, we'll start on the next session. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you in 2 minutes. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.